Now, ElectricPe, a Bengaluru-based EV charging aggregator, has raised $3 million in a pre-Series A round. The funding round was led by Green Frontier Capital, which saw participation from its existing lead investors, including Bloom Ventures, Mycelio Fund and NB Ventures. The funds will be used to fuel ElectricPe's growth and innovation initiatives and expand to newer geographic locations. Joining me now to discuss the firm's growth plans are Sandeep Bhamer, the founder of Green Frontier Capital, and Avinash Sharma, the co-founder and CEO of ElectricPe. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Avinash, let me come to you first. Ola just got listed, making it the only listed pure EV two-wheeler company. How do you see this helped EV-focused startups? What does it mean for the sector? And do you have any plans to go public?
Thanks, Arundhati, first of all, for having us here. In fact, I was listening to the keynote of Bhavesh, earlier today in the day of this extremely successful and inspiring public fundraise, because we are also doing the right hard work towards a very similar vision, and hopefully one day sooner,
right,
to India to fully electric. I think it's played a very pivotal role in driving the entire EV adoption in India, especially in two-wheelers. For me, the feeling is very similar what Bhavesh mentioned. The current fundraise, our pre-series round that we've closed, the feeling has not yet sunk in, to be honest. Having said that, it comes with a lot of responsibility for us. So what we've done is we've just closed our pre-series A overall at $8 million.
Absolutely. So your plan is to also follow in those footsteps and hopefully one day also list on the bourses. But, apart from being a super app for charging points across the country, you also have other offerings, right? A wide range of e-two-wheelers to choose from, along with EV financing, servicing and subscription plans. So, take us through these multiple offerings that you have and what are the gaps that you're trying to address right now?
See, the argument is very simple here. Now, if a customer in India wants to buy an automobile, let's say a scooter, now she has two options. Option one is to buy a petrol scooter. Option two is to buy an electric scooter. Now, buying a petrol scooter is, frankly speaking, a very straightforward decision, because one does not really think about, will I get access to petrol? Because the petrol pumps have been laid in our country and they're available. But the same thing does not apply to EVs. The charging infrastructure is all over the place. One. Two, the number of options of buying two-wheelers, the number of brands which are offering petrol two-wheelers are limited in numbers, maybe 5-6 brands only, right? But the number of brands which sell electric two-wheelers in India are upwards of 200. For example, Acer, which all of us know is a laptop selling company, is also selling electric scooters.
Right.
Correct. And lastly, getting a petrol two-wheeler serviced in India is fairly easy. You can find a petrol two-wheeler service center at any corner of the street. But the same ecosystem does not apply to electric scooters. And lastly, the tank of the petrol scooter does not disappear over time. It's a metal tank. Whereas the tank of the electric scooter, which is the battery, does degrade over time. And therefore, every 3 to 4 years, probably a couple of years, customers have to reinvest in replacing the battery. Now, therefore, the decision making is complicated. What we do at ElectricPe, we said, let's just simplify all of this.
Right.
And all of this in one place, which means what we do is, we are the largest charging network provider. We have about 25,000 charging points of all kinds, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers. Click of a button. B, we have an online store and physical stores, which help people in buying the right scooter, electric. And C, lastly, we also take care of servicing, battery life, battery replacements, maintenance, etc. So we are kind of like a Zomato. Everything food, ordering in, eating out, etc. is Zomato. And everything related to buying an EV simplified is ElectricPe.
Absolutely. So all things EV is what you're trying to provide for your consumers. But Sandeep, if I could quickly get you into the conversation, the fundraise was led by your company, Green Frontier Capital. What made you bet on ElectricPe, where there are quite a few EV players in the market, right, catering to various consumer needs? So what made ElectricPe the right fit for you? What's the growth opportunity you see here?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. We are actually one of India's premier early stage climate investors focusing on breakthrough innovation, in the climate space. And what really led us to invest in, ElectricPe is the fact that it's a platform business. And platform businesses are those businesses that can actually scale much faster than traditional business models without actually having to spend more money. They're able to kind of scale very, very rapidly. Now, as we know, any EV any pivot to EV is not going to be possible without requisite charging infrastructure in place. There's obviously the issue of range anxiety. And also in India, one of the biggest issues is that the entire EV charging infrastructure is very fragmented, as Avinash has spoken about. So to actually have one app that aggregates charging points, across a wide geographic map, that enables you to kind of charge across form factors,
Right.
is what actually drew us to invest in ElectricPe.
All right.
Of course, the company was growing very, very rapidly. It's been, kind of adding users at the rate of 30% month over month. So that kind of growth you just don't see in too many companies. And that's effectively what got us really excited about ElectricPe.
So a good growth opportunity, a good bet there. But, Avinash, you've clearly raised the $3 million. So where will most of the funds go? Expansion and new offerings on top of the agenda, right? If you could elaborate on these plans quickly.
In three places, very simple. A, in expanding our geographic locations where we will be offering our full stack model. B, in coming up with new product offerings that continues to simplify the entire decision-making process. And C, most importantly, in tech, because the entire, like Sandeep mentioned, the entire platform works using software. We've created a common operating system which makes all of the chargers work seamlessly, all of the scooters being available, all of the maintenance, etc. Everything happens using tech. So the third large portion of the investment would be used in deepening our tech capabilities.
All right. And, take us through your revenues. Where is most of the money coming from? Which sector is doing the best for you? And what's profitability looking like at this point?
Yes. So, like Sandeep mentioned, we are growing 30% every month, touch wood. We are on track, like Bhavesh also mentioned, we are building a business towards profitability over the next 1 to 2 years, hopefully sooner. We will be fully profitable. So that's where we are headed.
All right. So the path to profitability also looking clear there for you. But, Sandeep, Green Frontier Capital focuses on growth companies which are delivering breakthrough innovation in green industries, right? So apart from the EV space, what sectors are looking exciting for you? If you could give us something that, that you have invested in the recent...
Yeah. So the EV space itself is a very wide space, right? So the ecosystem within the EV sector is large. So if you look at our portfolio, we've got about 40% of our portfolio exposed to the mobility sector. But within that, we've got, EV financing, we've got charging exposure, we've got manufacturing, we've got, all kinds of businesses within the EV sector. But what's really interesting is if you actually look at India's greenhouse gas emissions, approximately 40 to 45% of the greenhouse gas emissions effectively come from three main areas: what we consume, how it's consumed, and how we travel. So a large part of our thesis in the decarbonization thesis is centered around ag tech, food tech, and mobility. We've also invested in very interesting areas like sustainable lifestyles. And we're looking at actually expanding that suite of kind of exposure in the sector to areas such as plastic circularity, waste management, water management, and what have you. So as of now, we've invested largely in the ag tech, food tech, and EV mobility sector, but within that, a much wider range of companies catering to the sector.
Right. So ag tech, food tech, and EV looking exciting there. All right, Sandeep and Avinash, we've completely run out of time on the show, but thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thanks so much, Arundhati.